3 bursts right across the front of the forehead. Or 1 burst, 3 rounds. Fighting Al-Qaeda. Charging the hill. Oh, yes. Oh, then there's private lynch. See, that's why I can't ever cover all the news. Because I start mentioning one article, and then I got to prove the bin Laden raid's fake. Buried at sea, it's Muslim tradition, not Muslim law, not tradition, all lies. Then hundreds of people get disciplinary actions trumped up on the very ship that were involved in it, so they can give them disorderly conducts because they were leaking that it was all fake. Private lynch, cowered in fear as the men in the resupply convoy fought the Iraqi troops, the Republican Guard. Then she's in the hospital. 3 days before the Iraqis pull out, the Iraqi doctors go to the U.S., say she's here. They don't save her for 3 days. They get Jerry Bruckheimer, this is BBC, the Hollywood producer, one of the top guys in Hollywood, on record admits to consult by satellite on how to raid and act like they're fighting Republican Guard when they go in the hospital. Where's Jessica Lynch? Private Lynch, hiding under the bed. Because it was all going to be a big promotion rollout for women in the military. You know, she's up there with a knife in her, a K-bar knife in her teeth. She's like Audie Murphy, just on top of that truck. Just killing the Iraqis. She's really hiding in the back. Just all part of pure lies, pure fiction, pure garbage, just fed to you. And so you're not too smart. They jack your water with fluoride, 7-fold increase in cancer. Just search the term. Fluoride cancer, 7-fold increase, brain damage, accelerates every other toxin in the body. Top scientists, surgeons, brain surgeons, all on to tell you. And guess what? All over the U.S., states are passing laws to make you have it in your water. And now they're announcing they're not going to let you have well water. Oh, you haven't heard that? It's coming up. They're going to come and put taxes and regulations. It doesn't matter if you got a 200-year-old 1,000-foot well into a crystal aquifer, you're going to pay taxes, and you're going to have to get it tested monthly, preemptively, so that you're forced to drink the fluoride water so your kids are brain damaged. That's all coming up. I haven't even gotten into the political stack yet. Oh, my gosh, you're going to want to stay with us. Hi. We have an incredible military of men and women who have joined by and large because they do want to defend this republic and because they love this country. I've met them. I know them. On average, members of our military are, per capita, the best people in our society. And even though I bash police a lot when they do corrupt things because the system is trying to warp them and has done a pretty good job of doing that with the leadership, many of the best people in our society are police officers. When I was 15, 16, 17, not even so much naive. I knew that we had corrupt police where I was growing up in Dallas. Thinking about careers, I wanted to be a forest ranger because I like being out in the outdoors. I was thinking about being a professor, a teacher, a cop. And my dad had a patient who at the time was the head federal marshal for this entire region. It was a multi-state region. And my dad said, come in and meet this guy. And the guy was just about to retire, and he called me and he goes, are you a criminal? And I said, no. And he goes, well, are you ready to do things that are, pretty much kind of criminal? And I said, not really. And he goes, well, then you might not want to be a federal marshal. He goes, things have changed. And I was just like, what? And of course, I wasn't even trying to be a federal marshal. I was just like saying, I don't know what I'm going to go to college for, Dad. I could be, I guess I'll be a school teacher, or maybe I'll get a degree in animal husbandry and be a veterinarian, because I'd done work for a large animal vet and a small animal vet by the time I was about 13, or I guess about 12, actually, and on the summers. And I'm already digressing. The point is that was another wake-up call right there. But we have a global elite trying to sell us on their values, on secret arrest, on no due process, on torture, and how good it is to not have any liberties. But you notice as we lose our liberties, it's like oxygen going out the door. out the window. As we lose our basic freedoms, our prosperity is disappearing. And of course, it's liberty that is the fertile soil and the sunshine and the water that allows human potential to sprout and to thrive. Freedom is what prosperity flows from. Every philosopher in history has realized this. Every historian knows this. But it's always criminal groups that don't care about prosperity. In fact, under feudalism, the elites hate prosperity because prosperity makes people uppity. Once you've gotten to a point in the hierarchy of needs, if you don't know what that is, folks, it's a psychological world structure, a way to look at things. I think it's very accurate. There's a in fact, guys, when you Google hierarchy of a needs illustration or chart, it's a pyramid, that you first have to get food and shelter. Then you want to become secure. Then you want to find a mate and have a family and be accepted in your community. But after you've done all those things, the hierarchy of needs, if you're healthy, you then start wanting to help others because you realize that you're part of a larger human system. And it's a basic instinct of people that have become successful that once you get to that point, see, I've experienced things that most people never will. I've gotten to meet a lot of really famous people. I've gotten to see a lot of things that other people will never see. And I was a little starstruck 10 years ago and things when I would get a chance to meet really famous people. I was even somewhat starstruck 3 or 4 years ago. I've just now in the last few years gotten to the point where it's interesting to know famous people because a lot of times they're very interesting artists or researchers and they're neat. There's a reason they're famous. They have that something special about them. But now it is so satisfying to know that hype and fame and peer pressure mean nothing. Nothing. It is such the most valuable thing I have after my family and my fact that I have basic honor is that I could care less what people think about me. And, of course, there's a nuance to that. I care what good people think about me. Or if I think I've done something that's wrong, I then want to make it right. But I don't care what scum thinks.
We're on the march.
Oh, yes, make no mistake, you have found it, the tip of the spear, the front lines of the info war. Dr. Jerome Corsi is going to be with us about 30, 40 minutes of the second hour. Then I'll cover more news. We'll also open the phones up on the Obama situation in court where he has been found in contempt. Bill Clinton showed up for his court hearings, not Lord Obama. Of course, Karl Rove didn't show up for court hearings. He just left the United States for a while back when he was being subpoenaed to courts and being ordered to appear. So it's just all part of the lawlessness that we see intensifying. Okay, I was starting to get into the news. I want to get into forced fluoridation here in a moment, forced inoculation. Huge developments on that front, some big Monsanto news, huge financial news in Europe with a EU dictatorship, in their own words, being set up over the once sovereign nations to raise taxes to pay the bankers for their derivatives fraud. I mean, if this is the case, they should get Bernie Madoff out of jail, make him president of the world, and have him set global economic policy. But see, he's low level compared to them. Bernie Madoff is a low-level person that made the mistake of robbing some rich people on the inside, and that's why they're going down. Corzine did the right thing, according to the New World Order Mafia, top White House financial advisor, a former New Jersey governor. We're now 2.5 months into this. And he went before Congress a month ago, and the head of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange said, no, I was on the phone when they did this with his chief executive officers. They told me when I said, why are you doing this? We've been given the order by John Corsi. Terrence Duffy went in front of Congress under oath, and a prepared statement was put out by the Chicago Mercantile Exchange saying that Corzine didn't know and that Duffy didn't know. But when Duffy actually got in testimony, he starts reading the statement and then changes it and looks up and says, I was on the phone with him and he gave the order. Because, see, Duffy's thinking, if this comes down, if this falls apart, I didn't commit the crime here. I knew they did it, but now if I lie, when there's all these witnesses, but of course, there's the Congress. They're involved in insider trading and get caught and tell the public they're allowed to, which they're not. It's like you catch somebody murdering somebody and they go, well, I'm allowed to murder. No, you're not. Well, I'm allowed to launch wars without congressional approval. No, you're not. Well, I'm allowed to order torture because I'm the president. Remember Bush's book last year came out? He said, well, I can order torture because I'm the president. Really? Can you go pick up a prostitute in downtown D.C. and go behind a building and blow her brains out or maybe knock her teeth out? No, you can't. You're not above the law. Hitler wasn't. Stalin wasn't. Obama isn't. Karl Rove isn't. Newt Gingrich isn't. Mitt Romney isn't. I'm not above the law. You're not above the law. Nobody's above the law. And when governments start telling you they're above the law, look out. Hitler did that. It was called the Hitler Precept. Or the Nuremberg called it the Hitler Precept after his name. It was called the Führer Precept by the Germans. Or the Leader Precept. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer. One people, one land, one leader. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer. And presidents come and go. Obama is now, for all intents and purposes, behaving like a dictator and sees many powers of a dictator. But it doesn't mean he himself is a dictator. That office, controlled by the globalists and special interest, has now become one. And that's why the system is torpedoing Newt Gingrich right now. Mitt Romney has the same pedigree politically, is a total globalist, would vote exactly like Newt Gingrich. The difference is Mitt Romney is a corporate shill and knows to follow orders 100% and has proven it. Newt Gingrich has a man with big ideas. Newt Gingrich is a leader in a bad way. Newt Gingrich is a man on fire. Newt Gingrich would tell people when he was a kid he was going to be president. Newt Gingrich will lie like you've never seen, and he wants power for himself and hates other people around him and those above him. And the elite do not want Newt Gingrich in there because he'd actually try to be a president like Richard Nixon, who was bad in a lot of ways, but actually tried to be president. And that's why they're destroying Newt Gingrich. And again, I'm scared of Newt Gingrich. I fully understand. And by scared, I mean he's dangerous. I know he's super dangerous. Same way I'm scared of a truck going on the highway 100 miles an hour. I know to get out of, the way of it. And so the issue is the establishment is concerned about him as well, because he's the type that would try to actually double-cross the globalist. Mittens, Romney, not so much. I mean, look, the last head of Bain Capital has just gone to be replace the mob boss Daley that they had in there from the Chicago crew in there in the Obama White House. So, I mean, it's one happy, disgusting pea pod with these folks. And Ron Paul is turbocharging, obviously, and is really in second place.